Hi. Talking about Moses and the 10 Code System today by Douglas B. Vogt, a friend of mine that died in December, and I am proud to be sharing his work. This is I believe you have to understand the code system to understand kind of the way things worked back then and what we're dealing with when trying to interpret ancient history. There's so much involved. Code systems is one thing, and it's not just Moses. These aren't just his code systems, but code systems that have been used since the beginning of time. Moses used 10 code systems when writing the surface story of the Torah. Moses tells us in Exodus 32:16, "And the tablets were the work of God, and the writing was the writing of God, graven upon the tablets." Moses is telling us that he didn't create the design of the original letters or the sequence of letters on the two tablets. What that means is that he had to take what he had and create it into a logical story that would be believable. That's why so much of the history is not history. Now and then we have real people and real names, and the stories don't really make much sense unless you understand the code. Kind of peeves me so much that so many people spend their lives trying to understand the stories, and it's not about them. No one cares. What he did was create 10 code systems in order to tell a complete story. The code systems have to be known in order to uncover the short hidden stories Moses encoded in the Torah, and some of the codes have not been known for 2,600 years. The code systems reveal the following: who was Joseph in Egypt? Who purchased him for a slave? What did he do as prime minister? Who was married to him, which is very interesting, the location of the real Mount Sinai, the number of years between the polar or geomagnetic reversals, and much more. The author, Douglas Vogt, is the first person in 2,600 years to discover the real Mount Sinai and all the altars that Moses describes in the Exodus. He is also the only one since the first temple period to discover the model that created the 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet. It's really exciting to me because I love communication, and I think you'll find that this is just really mind-blowing understanding and research of the original Hebrew alphabet. When I first started with this, I was going to tie it in to the Bible and some other work, but it needs to be separate, and I'll explain why later. New information. All right. Let me do another little thing here, and just Doug's main book. Well, he wrote a number of books. The first one was Reality Revealed. The second one, I don't know, but his main one that kind of encapsulates everything is God's Day of Judgment and the real cause of global warming, what it means, what they were trying to tell us. So I'm going to just read you the insert on his jacket to do it justice. God's Day of Judgment, the real cause of global warming, is a totally unique book. It provides the scientific reason for the polar reversals and ice ages. It also answers the age-old religious question, what is God's day of judgment and when will it happen? Douglas Vogt offers 60 major scientific discoveries, reinterpretations, and 60 major Bible discoveries. The thrust of Mr. Vogt's work is to fully explain the cause of the polar reversal and resulting ice age. At the time of the polar reversal, our sun novas, and that is what eventually causes the ice age. The model used to explain the mysteries of the ice age is Doug's theory of multidimensional reality, the first informational theory of existence that we know about, or I know about. The author proves that there's a very high probability that the next polar reversal will happen between September and December of 2046. He found the exact date encoded in the Torah, which you'll end up seeing. In addition, he discovered the exact number of years between polar reversals, which is 12,068 years. The Torah has the same number encoded in its text, as does other ancient religions. The author explains how the ark, the tabernacle, and the rod of God worked to show pictures of many of the altars. Messed up. Okay. The author explains how the ark, the tabernacle, and the rod of God worked, and shows pictures of many of the altars he discovered during his 2 expeditions to Mount Sinai in Egypt. Mr. Vogt is the first person in history to discover the actual model that created the original Hebrew alphabet. The 22 letters are 22 views of a waveform that represent the carbon atom as it's formed in this dimension. The letters are grouped into 3 very distinct geometric shapes, one of which is the Star of David. The publication of this book marks the first time anyone has scientifically proven the existence of God and his relationship to the universe. For any theory of existence to be correct, it must be able to answer the 3 most difficult questions in the universe. Why was it created? If God created the universe, then who created God? And what is man's purpose in the universe? The answers to these and other difficult questions are within this book. Douglas Vogt, here's a picture of him when he was younger. Douglas Vogt is a true Renaissance man. He is a member of the Geological Society of America. The focus of his study has been to discover the cause of polar reversal and resulting ice ages. He has mined gold in the Klondike, owned an import-export company, and before he died, ran his own successful business selling document scanners worldwide. His first book was Reality Revealed, The Theory of Multidimensional Reality, 1978. It presented the first information system or theory of existence and demonstrated that the theory could explain polar reversals. His second book was Gravitational Mystery Spots of the United States. That is just so mind-blowingly interesting. His current book, God's Day of Judgment, represents the culmination of over 30 years of research in a variety of scientific and religious fields. Mr. Vogt's accomplishments include the first information theory of existence, the first person in 2,584 years to discover the real Mount Sinai and all of the altars that Moses describes in Exodus. He is the first explorer to find the real Abraham's sacrificial altar located at Mount Sinai, and the first to discover the scientific model that created the Hebrew alphabet and connect it with quantum field theory, along with closed-in theory, because everything changes when you look from a new paradigm, and that's what he did. On the back, the United Nations and environmental groups want us to believe that man causes global warming. They are wrong. The sun is causing global warming. The earth has been getting warmer since the 1890s. This phenomena is connected to the sunspot cycles. Solar output is increasing because we are headed for another polar reversal, which will occur in 2046. At that time, our sun will nova, the earth will stop its rotation for approximately 8 hours and then rotate in the opposite direction. This action will cause a great flood like the one described in Genesis. A great deal of ocean water will be evaporated during the nova. The water will quickly fall back to the ground, first in the form of hot rain, then eventually snow, thousands of feet of snow. Man has 39 years from the writing of this publication to determine how to survive this event. If you or your family wish to have any hope of surviving this global cataclysm, you need to read this book. You have the power to convince the government to do what's necessary to save us from God's day of judgment. Douglas Vogt. Okay. What do you say about info like that, right? I don't know what to say because it's been a while. I've known for some time, and I think I'm kind of getting used to living with it. I don't like it. I'll never like it, but it's our plate, right? It's our serving. It's what we're here to deal with. And so we need to do it. And the only way to do anything difficult is to face it head on. Can we survive it? I believe so. We need to understand it and prepare for it. And we're not getting any help. And it doesn't look like we're going to get any anytime soon. What I want to say is to just take care of your family and live like you're dying. But unfortunately, those two things don't go hand in hand very well. It's pretty hard to live like you're dying when you've got people dependent on you and they don't know anything about what's going on in the world. I'm sorry, I know I get low talking. David says that anyway. So we're going to figure it out, and we're going to do it together. The most important thing is to figure out what is not true, because what is not true is what is used to deceive us and manipulate us, and I'm not having it. All right. When I come back, we're going to get started.